I just want to make clear I'm not sure why exactly I decided to play through this. Much less why I decided to try and become... I don't know if good is the word for it, but... Okay, look. I played the Dragon's Lair arcade games a long-ass time ago, and then I figured, oh man, I like those games, I'll rent this one. And that didn't work out so well, because while this isn't nearly as bad or as horrifically difficult as the NES version, it's still kind of hard. Your main attacks consist of the sword swipe, which looks more like a golf swing, and throwing weapons, which you start out with the axe. Now, what I'm going to do here is use this weight to lower this platform and run off the edge to this exit. That level actually has multiple exits. This exit allows us to skip 2 stages, which is why I usually do it. And why this video is so damn short, because I do level skips a lot. Now, the main thing about this game is the difficulty is on 2 fronts. One, there are a couple enemies in this game that occur in almost every level that randomly spawn. One of them is the floating dragon head that you saw earlier. And the other major obstacle in this game is the controls, because they are ungodly slippery. Like, you'll see me like running and try to stop and I'll just slide all over the place. Also, jumping, your jump height is determined by how long you hold in the jump button. And that becomes a major sticking point at some areas. But anyway, let's go fight the first boss, which, in true Dragon's Lair fashion, is the giant snake. Now, why the snake is spitting out pterodactyl legs, I can't begin to try and explain that, but this boss fight is mainly just a matter of, I guess, stamina or concentration or whatever you want to call it, because it's an incredibly easy boss pattern, but it just takes a lot of hits. And you can go out of the way, and you saw the exit at the upper right, but we're actually not done with the snake yet. We have to fight another one, or the same one. I'm not sure how exactly this works. It is possible to jump and throw 4 axes, but the timing on it is a little tricky. Then you can see that I'm just trying not to run into the snake, because Urgh is kind of sliding all over the place. And we're not even going to bother killing that one. Now, the passwords for this are not randomly generated, so all the passwords are the same and they just get you to the area that's past the boss that you just beat. Now, this one is where some of the tricky jumping segments come in. There's one particular jump right here. You have to throw the axe almost right as you're touching that snake in order to not take a hit. And why did they make this just a common enemy, when it was such a pain in the ass to deal with in the arcade game? This isn't nearly as simple as it looks. I mean, I pretty much have to land right near the edge of the platform for some of these. Well, that one not so much because it's a smaller jump. Now, wait 3 seconds, jump, and there we go. If you back up too far, that ledge will actually respawn and the timing will be off and you'll just fall into your death. Now, this one, we're going to go for the regular exit. This is another one that has multiple exits in it, and I can't remember which one it was, but there's one level in this game where, by the way, this is how you bypass a bunch of these snakes. You have to wait for this one to get out of the way. But there's one level in this game where, if you go to the regular exit, you have to repeat the level. That's the kind of ash-holishness I'm trying to avoid by going for all these, like, more out-of-the-way, difficult-to-reach exits. This level, however, is actually kind of simple up until a certain point. You can either go straight to the right or springboard up here, and we're going to use this anvil on a fire pit that's directly below this. Fire pits are instant death if you touch them, but we can walk over that one. And we're just going to hit these springs all the way to the right side of the level. When you initially start jumping on these springs, you want to land on the first spring a little over to the right. Otherwise, you're eventually going to miss one of the springs and just end up standing on the ledge next to it. and that dragon head might be able to catch you and take off a unnecessary bit of health. Timing on this is a little tricky. You gotta jump down to the right, actually kind of drop off. We're gonna take this extra life and go to the exit. If you fuck up the timing on that, you're just gonna fall straight to the ground, go to an exit, and have to do the other level before this. This skipped a level. Ah, damn it. You have to get a certain amount of height on these. And the hit detection on these is just wonderful. Now, it is possible to go through this area fast enough that moving platform, you'll be able to catch it, but I wasn't quite fast enough this time. So we're gonna have to wait for it to come back a little bit. And then we're going to make our way up to the top. Usually the timing on this is so bad that you'll take a hit regardless, but I got a little lucky here and I didn't get hit by this guy. By the way, shield. In case you haven't figured it out yet, those shield icons are health, and you want to max out your health whenever you can, because shields are in pretty short supply for some of these levels. Although you can max it out at 4 or so. I guess if you don't need it, you don't have to go for it, but... this level. This level is where we're going to get a weapon that, amazingly enough, I saw the GameFAQs article on this kind of like trash this weapon. It's the Shuriken. And the main weapon he trashed the Shuriken is, it's the hardest weapon to use by far, because it has a boomerang effect on it, where you throw it, it stops in front of you, and then it comes back to you. So if you miss your target, you're going to have to waste time trying to dodge your own shot. By the way, there's 2 extra lives right here, and you're going to maybe need them for the next boss, but actually the next boss is really weak against the Shuriken, which is part of the reason I got it. And it's also really good because the boss pattern's kind of random on this. It'll just kind of like dive and sway around and shoot sonic blasts at you. But the Shuriken's got to hang in the air and come back to the boss, which actually makes this a lot faster than if you try to kill it with like the axe. And one more password later, we are on to the next section. I hate this level, I will tell you right now. You have to push this barrel over to the side. And you don't want to push it too far, otherwise you'll fuck up and have to die to repeat this level. You gotta knock it into that wall and have it bounce back enough that you can knock it into the air again, and then knock it onto this platform so that you can jump up to the next segment. And the detection on this is just wonderful. Anyway, this is actually the easier part, but I do kind of screw up on it because you need to get this barrel through that top section, but I missed. And you can't get it through this bottom part. You have to push this all the way across the next water section. But what you can do is get enough momentum going in the water and then rapidly tap jump to launch yourself up to the next the platform that you were just on. And we're going to take care of these. Head over to the right. And this is kind of tricky to do, but you gotta kind of jump off to the side and then the barrel will respawn. Okay, let's try and get it right this time. And yes, there we go. Now you gotta push it through these next few sections, which I've had plenty of practice with this so I can do. And there's an exploding barrel, bam, exit's open. Now you want to get a ton of momentum going because you're going to launch yourself up to the rope. And one more for the spider on the ground, and we're clear. Now this particular area... yes. You have to jump as you're getting pushed off the ledge in this one part. Now the one thing you can take advantage of here is that there are a couple of shield icons around here, so you can take some hits. Now, that spring you can just drop down to the platform and then immediately jump on it to get to the next area. This, by the way, is an axe in that spear. This is a shield, so if you want to switch back, you can. I don't recommend it, though. Damn it. It is possible to just hit that jump before pushing it all the way down to the next section and get up higher. but I kind of failed to do that a couple times. Ah, damn it. Now that sphere over there is actually an extra life, but I'm going to forgo that for now, because this is actually a really easy level. The gimmick is that you can't really see what's around you, but once you know the lay of the land, all difficulty just disappears in this area. You can wait for the dragon head to spawn and not intentionally take a hit on that rope, but I usually just take the hit. And we're going to drop down here to the exit, and we're done. Now this is a little tricky to do. This level you're supposed to go all the way to the right and then up and to the side to get to that barrel, but yeah, we can boost off of enemy damage to get up to this platform without having to go through all that bullshit. Now you gotta be careful pushing this barrel, because you don't want it to get too far out in front of you. Because the idea is you're going to eventually push this off a ledge and into the water. By the way, more health icons here if you need them. And then you're going to push it all the way into the right side. And there's going to be another exploding barrel at the bottom. Bam. Now, when you go up here, don't go full speed and hang to the left. Because otherwise you're going to bump your head either on the ledge below the exit, or slam into the ceiling and drop back into the water. The entire gimmick of this is that another level where you can't see, but when you realize the exit's 20 feet away and you just have to jump to this rope, yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking with this level. But that brings us to the third boss, which is Death, and I thought this would have been the second boss because I think it came before the bat in the arcade game, but then again it had the branching path, so whatever. Anyway, just stand here, fire shurikens, and this is all you do. You can beat this boss in like 10 seconds. By the way, you can still touch the staff and die, but because you already beat the boss, it doesn't really matter. You'll keep the life anyway. And this is where the segments become a little asshole-ish. Actually, I think that's the next level it happens. But we're going to head straight here and drop straight down onto this moving platform. And this is a leap of faith because we're trying to get out of the way of that storm cloud. You can just barely make it. Now, if you want to, you can climb up here and go to that sphere that the broom is walking toward because there's an axe in it. I usually don't do that, which is why I kind of took some unnecessary hits in this section. But you're going to drop down here, keep throwing your axes, and we're going to land right to the side of the snake so we can get the 1-up and the walking broom in one fell swoop. This level. Oh, this level. This level you're supposed to push this moving platform all the way to the left side of the stage. Because if you don't, there's a massive gap between you and the exit, and you pretty much have to either somehow navigate your way back to this platform or die and start over. And it is possible to push it too far out in front of you, so you have to be really careful about how you push it. And that takes us to... Remember the cave level where we did the spider jump before? Yeah, we're going to do that again. However, if you want to be safe, you can kind of wait around for the dragon head. I didn't do that, and it kind of cost me there. Timing on this is a little tricky to do, but you gotta wait until it's at the apex of its pattern and then jump up. And it is possible to hit that with a throwing weapon too. Now, you will want to bust this sphere open and get the dagger, because that is actually the strongest weapon to use against the final boss. And we're going to go into this level, which I actually only have one hit point, and I'm going to do enemy jumping in this level again. So I'm actually going to take a death, and then we're going to go back into this. Now, don't try jumping up these platforms yet, because otherwise you're just going to fall back down, but wait for them to come out and then go again. And this requires a little bit of luck. Obviously, I didn't have that on this time. But the dragon head is going to spawn as you're going up. Usually, you'll have enough room to maneuver that you can kill it on the way up. But there's a ghost up here. Jump boost. We're just going to run all the way to the end of the level. Throw one dagger for this ghost and we're done. Now, I'm on my last life here, and I'm pretty low on health, but I'm still going to show you the boss. Which, by the way, obviously is Singe the dragon. But I just want to show you what happens if you die at a boss, or at any point beyond the first level of a new section. By the way, I got killed by a crow that came up from the ground. Because that's fun. Anyway, you go through all these startup screens again, and you're back at the first level of the section. But we're not going to do that again, so I'm just going to jump cut, and we're back at the boss. Now, the thing that makes this boss tough is not its pattern, not its attacks. It doesn't really have a pattern per se, because the biggest obstacle in this is actually the crows that spawn around it. There's no real concrete pattern to how these things work. And as such, you're going to have to fight them more than the boss. But actually, so long as you don't take any unnecessary hits in this one section leading up to the boss, you should be okay just to jump and spam daggers at its face, because that's the only place that it will take damage. That, and if you're lucky, sometimes the birds will just fly directly into your line of fire. Ah, Jesus. If you have to, back off and kill the crows, because it's not worth it otherwise. And Singe explodes and somehow doesn't, and that's the end of the game. I mean, obviously you have Urgh and Daphne, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this. What do I call this? I'm not going to call it I Want to Play, because I kind of didn't want to play it, but I'll think of something. By the way, if you haven't played Dragon's Lair yet, you can still get like the Dragon's Lair trilogy on the Wii. It's basically Dragon's Lair 1, 2, and Space Ace. Covers your Dawn Bluth. You'll be set on that. And you know I'm low on compliments for a game when I'm actually saying that I do kind of like the credit sequence. But I'll go ahead and let this play out. I got shit to do. Later.